All right, at this point, I'm gonna put you all on mute, but at any time you're welcome to unmute yourself. Questions, comments, use the chat box as you'd like. So I'm actually gonna have us start in a child's pose tonight. So we can go right into stretching our low back and our hips. We can make this a more supported version of our child's pose with bolsters and blankets. So those of us that do take care of our knees, feel free to add additional support behind the sit bones. That might be a nice big pillow back there. It might be a couple yoga blocks that we're sitting back on. It might be that we leave our hips up in the air and forego trying to sit back towards the heels. Let's take a nice wide knee child's pose, big toes touching. We also have the option of placing pillows and blankets in front of the body, especially if we're really tight in our low back and hips tonight. It might be hard to allow the upper body to just sink towards the floor. So if we want to snug in a pillow, a couple blankets, and just kind of wrap our arms around it, the head may turn to one side, or we stack our hands on top of our prop, resting the forehead to our hands. Some of us might want to go right into a more active child's pose tonight, and that's totally fine too. And for that position, we will spread the fingers wide and extend our fingertips forward to the front corners of our yoga mat as we allow the belly, the heart, and the head to sink to the ground. So we'll all have a different version that we're going to take this evening. Make it work for your body. Make any adjustments you need to here. We'll start our practice off as we normally do, just starting to direct our attention inward, letting go of where we just came from, letting go of our day, and really giving ourselves the gift of being present for the next hour and so. So once we're in our child's pose, we'll close our eyes. Cultivate some stillness here in the posture. Allow the weight of the body to sink to the ground as much as possible. There is purposeful compression here on those knees, those of us that are sitting back to our heels. So we'll get a benefit out of the pose once we release the pose. But don't overforce or strain the body. Start to relax the face, all the little muscles around the mouth, the tongue, and the jaw. For extending those fingertips forward, we'll start to feel that stretch around the shoulder girdle, especially if we can allow the heart to sink even more towards the ground. We have space here for our belly, so the belly can relax. Moving through our body, always honoring and recognizing the areas that we might be healing or taking care of tonight, but also remembering to fill ourselves up with gratitude, even if we are taking care of a lot in our practice this evening. Just recognizing that we all made the effort to be here this evening, and sometimes that is the hardest part of our practice. So we've already accomplished a lot. Just a couple more moments here in this pose. Let's start to feel and notice the breath this evening. So in child's pose, our breath might be moving a little bit differently in our body. We might feel it more towards the back of our body. We're breathing smoothly and evenly in and out through the nose. And we should still be able to feel that expansion as we breathe in and fill ourselves up with fresh air, prana, and energy tonight. And we should still feel a slight contraction, letting go as we exhale away stale old air and energy. Feel the body connected with the floor. Allow your mind to rest within the four corners of the mat. And this, I'll take one more nice big breath here in Balasana, child's pose, to start our practice. So the next inhale, we'll float the head up and the body up. If we've added additional props this evening, our pillows and blankets, We'll just slide those props off to the side of our mat for now. Unless we want to continue to give our knees support. We're moving right into tabletop pose. So we'll stack our shoulders over our wrists. The fingers are still spread nice and wide here, stacking our knees underneath our hips. Our toes may be tucked under or pointed. So we're going to go right into that long stretch for our legs. Stabilize the hips and the low back. Press into the ground, strong arms. Pull the low belly in slightly and give that right leg a nice big stretch, stepping the right foot to the back of the mat. The ball of the foot is to the floor. Now we're shifting that weight more intensely through that heel. Try to lift the thigh up, really opening up the eye of the knee, getting that blood to rush back down through the leg from child's pose. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, bring the right knee down. Stabilize the hips and the low back. Left leg stretches out. Nice long stretch for that leg. Again, shifting our weight back through that heel. Feel like you're trying to lift the thigh up a little bit higher, opening up the eye of the knee. Equal weight in both hands. Be mindful of where the head is in space. Take one more big breath in. Exhale, bring the left knee back down to the ground. Again, toes may continue to stay tucked under or pointed. Let's go right into a few rounds of our cat-cows, utilizing our breath and allowing our breath to be our guide. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Relax the belly. Lift the tailbone and really try to stretch and lengthen the spine all the way up to the crown of the head, gazing forward or up to the third eye center. On the exhale, scoop that tailbone under, draw the belly in, rounding the back to the ceiling, tucking the chin to the chest, drishti to the belly button. Follow your breath. Inhaling to our gentle back bending extension, helping to decompress the spine. Exhaling, rounding that back to help release muscular tension. So try to get some of that action in the pelvis and hips. Really try to articulate up and down the length of the spine, pushing the breath all the way through the spine. Tension in those shoulders. Really try to sink the heart on the inhale. When we get to our exhale, poof up the back of the heart, splaying the shoulder blades. Remember that we can hang out in one of these a little bit longer, taking an extra breath or two, adding some lateral movements here. This pose is just trying to loosen things up, create some more mobility in the hips, through the spine, the shoulders, and the neck. So we'll balance ourselves out, and then let's come back to a neutral position. So we're back into our tabletop. We'll go right into a little bit of shoulder work. So this will be our thread the needle pose. We will be bringing some weight down on the outside of the shoulder. If that's not an option for us tonight, you may sit back on your heels and simply bring one straight arm across the chest at a time. You'll still get that outer shoulder stretch. Let's start tonight with the right arm. So continue to draw the low belly in to support the back. On the inhale, float that right arm out and up. On the exhale, we're threading the right arm underneath the chest, turn the palm up. We're going to come down onto the outside of the right shoulder and the right ear. So we are bringing our body weight down onto that right shoulder. Now we'll pause and hold this stretch for several rounds of breathing. If you have a thread the needle position that you like to go into, feel free to go into it anytime. Otherwise, I'm going to guide us through several variations this evening. The first is just to stay right where we are. The second is to walk your left fingertips forward off the top of your yoga mat and then dropping that left shoulder further down in front of the face. Another option is to sweep the left arm on top of the right arm. You'll notice that your left hand is extended further than the right hand, and you can continue to walk those fingertips further out. Another option is to wrap the left arm around the low back. Maybe try to tuck the fingertips into the right hip crease. This will put additional weight on the shoulder and the head, so be mindful. And then there is a balancing component that can come into this pose. Really easy to fall out of the pose when we add it, so just be mindful of your surroundings. We want to try the balance, toes tucked under,
Kickstand the left foot out off the long edge of the yoga mat. Slide the left foot out at an angle, straightening the left leg. And the left arm reaches up to the ceiling with the palm facing forward. Breath should remain even and smooth, in and out through the nose, and we'll all take one more round of breath tonight. On the next inhale, if you're in half bind, reach the left arm up. On our exhale, we'll plant the left hand right where it started in front of the face. Bring the left knee and foot down. Draw the belly in, push into the ground through your left arm, look down, and inhale, slide that right arm all the way out and up. Exhale, right hand comes down underneath the shoulders. We'll take a couple rounds of our cat-cows. Inhaling, gentle back bending. Exhaling, scooping, tucking, and rounding. Once we've balanced ourselves out, we make sure we're back in a neutral position. We'll practice that on the other side. Inhale, reach the left arm out and up. On the exhale, right underneath the chest, we'll slide the left arm across the body. The palm is facing up. Look to the right. Start to lower the body down onto the outside of the left shoulder, left ear. Do keep your low belly drawing in to protect the low back. Same thing on this side. You can always sit back and just take the straight arm across the chest if you don't want to be on the pressure on the shoulder. Options, stay where we are. Walk the right fingertips forward to the top of the mat, dropping the right shoulder further down in front of the face. Sliding the right arm on top of the left arm, noticing that the right hand will be further away from the body. We can continue to try to walk the right fingertips as far away from us as we can. Right arm may sweep across the low back, tucking those fingertips into our hip crease, holding a half bind. Or adding the balancing element, tucking the toes under, kickstanding the right foot off the long edge of the yoga mat, sliding the foot out at an angle, straightening the leg. Right arm reaches up to the ceiling, palm forward. So that will definitely put more pressure on the shoulder. Good, nice choices. One more breath. Next inhale takes the right arm up if it's behind the back. Exhale, plants the right hand back down in front of the face, right knee and foot back into position. Press through the right hand, look down. Inhale, slide the left arm out and up. Exhale, tabletop. Inhale, gentle back bend, cow pose. Roll those eyes forward or upwards. Exhale, draw the belly in, scoop, tuck, and round. Couple more. Now on the next inhale, we're going to step our right foot forward. Some of us are going to want to take a little extra cushion underneath the left knee. So if you have your towel next to you, you might want that. Or you'll fold the long edge of your yoga mat over. I'll show you in a second. Bring the right hand behind the right thigh. Carefully step the right foot forward. You may also bring yoga blocks if you have them into this position. Some people like to use the yoga blocks as a little stepping stone. Right ankle underneath the right knee. We're going to walk our hands up to that front thigh, pull the belly in, and press the thigh away from us as we lift all the way up to a kneeling lunge. So this is where we might want to take some extra cushion under the left knee, either by folding the mat under on the long edge here, or using additional cushion from a towel or a blanket. Now we're going to hold here for a moment, a little bit of a balancing pose too. Back toes tucked or pointed. For the front of the hip flexor, it really wants to concentrate on scooping the tailbone under, pulling the belly in, and driving the left hip forward. We're not shifting our hips necessarily forward, it's that intention. And some of us who are really tight here will automatically start to feel a big stretch up the front of the left quad and hip flexor. Open the heart, shrug the shoulders down. Keeping your hands on the thigh or a little bit more balance and shoulder heart opening. We'll float those arms up towards the ceiling. You can take it one at a time. Gazing even slightly upwards. And a kneeling lunge. Belly in, tailbone tucking. Good adjustments. Take one more big breath in. On the exhale, we're going to come down. Take your time, many breaths as you need to. Hands to that front thigh. Use your yoga blocks as a stepping stone as needed, or bring those fingertips back down to the ground. We'll slide our right knee back to meet our left knee. We'll end up back in tabletop position to give our knees a break, especially the left one. Tuck the toes under, draw the belly in. Let's push up, back, and down into Adho Mukha Svanasana for a moment. So this will take any pressure off our knees, give the backs, the legs a nice big stretch. Roll those shoulder blades away from the ears. If you're tight like me in the neck and shoulders, try to let the head hang between the upper arm bones. It's okay if the heels don't touch. We can even bend the knees more deeply to help free the spine. Just one more breath here. And then we're going to come right back down onto our knees tonight in tabletop. Left hand behind the thigh. Step the left foot forward. So we want the ankle underneath the knee. Take that extra cushion for the right knee if you like. Fold up the mat on the long edge. Add some extra cushion. Yoga blocks, the stepping stool, or that front thigh. One hand at a time. Pull the belly in. Root the tailbone down as you inhale to rise up. Continue to lengthen the upper buttock down to the ground, drawing the front body to back body. Intentionally try to draw, energetically pushing that right hip forward, and we should start to feel a nice big stretch up the front of the right quad, the hip flexor. Stabilize the back by drawing the core in. Shrug the shoulders from the ears. The neck should be nice and long. Good. Choosing to stay here, just giving a big stretch from the front of that hip. Adding a little bit more balance, extension through the shoulders, floating our arms up. Trying to draw the head of the arm bones back. Feel free to bend at the elbows slightly if that helps release the muscles along the neck. Good. One more breath. Take one more inhale in the pose, maybe gazing slightly upwards. On the exhale, we're going to come all the way down, or it might take us an extra breath or two to get there. There's no rush. Don't rush this. Go through all the steps that we need to bring the body and hands back down. We'll slide that left knee back and foot meets the right foot. And one more time to give our knees a break. Spread the fingers wide, pull the belly in, tuck the toes, float those hips up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Loosey-goosey here in the head. A lot of tightness up the backs of those legs tonight. Feel free to take this down dog into a walk, pedaling one heel at a time. Good. Keep distributing that weight internally through the mound of the index finger and thumb. Externally through those upper arm bones. Good. Nice alignment, everybody. Let's try one more deep breath in our pose. And taking breaks whenever we need to, back into tabletop or child's pose. So the next inhale, we gaze forward. We're going to walk our feet to our hands, hands to our feet. Some of us will stay upside down and forward fold, Uttanasana. If we modify for our low backs, we bend our knees deeply, placing our elbows or our hands on our thighs instead. You're always welcome to come into a standing position. Those of us staying upside down in Uttanasana forward fold, keep the belly pulled in. Keep the legs nice and strong. Hug the muscles to the bone. Try to pick up your toes in your forward fold. That will also help energize the muscles of the legs. Tension the neck and shoulders. Try to let it go. Let the head hang. Let the arms kind of drop out of the shoulder sockets. Just let the weight of the world melt off the upper body here. Tonight, we're going to articulate to come up. So we're all bend our knees, placing our hands on our thighs with the fingertips turned inward. Press the feet into the ground, tuck the chin to the chest, and inhale to start coming up. Try to breathe in. So we're uncurling the spine, stacking one vertebra at a time. Once we start to come upright, we're give our shoulders an intentional little squeeze up here. Exhale, let them sag back away from the ears. Let the arms float beside the body and pause for a moment in Tadasana. So we were upside down for a little bit. Remember, if we ever get lightheaded, dizzy, we just sit back down to the ground. Let's fix our gaze on one spot. Let's turn our palms forward tonight. I'm really trying to counter my hunching of my upper back. So just doing this little rotation in the hands, rotates those upper arm bones outward, over exaggerates some opening for our chest. Pick up those toes, ground through the four corners of the feet. Let's unlock those knees, quads are strong. We can feel those lower bandhas activate. So squeezing and lifting up through the perineum muscles of the pelvic floor, a gentle pulling in and up just below the navel center. No tension in the face, head, or neck. Coming back to our breath. Those palms are turned forward, turn them out. Inhale, let's reach nice and wide all the way up to the ceiling. Let's add our feet. Heels are gonna float up. We'll bring our palms to touch and we'll exhale, our hands to our heart and our heels to the floor. So a little bit of balance work. Let's do two more with our palm tree pose. Really try to drive that nice big circle in the arms. That will also help loosen up the shoulders. Simultaneously, we're strengthening the legs. One more round with the breath. And on the exhale, we're gonna drop our heels down and our hands to our heart. So I want us to walk towards the front of our yoga mat if we're not already there. Keep your feet hips width apart. So we'll still have them hips width. We're gonna bring our hands onto our hips. We did a low kneeling lunge. Now we're gonna take it into a high lunge. So standing tall, hands on our hips. Step the right foot back. A nice long stance here. Open the feet a little wider if we need to for our balance. We are not on a tightrope here. Our feet can still be hips width apart. Now, if we're on the ball of that back foot, this is going to challenge our balance a little bit more. We do have the option to ground the right heel to the ground, angling in slightly for more of a Virabhadrasana 1. I'm going to keep my heel up tonight because I really want to get into the front of this quad a little bit more. So once we have our balance, hips should stay level. We're really going to draw that tailbone under, pulling the belly in. And the intention is the same. Energetically push your right hip forward. There's not a big movement here. I'm just doing a little posterior tuck of my pelvis and getting a really big stretch up the front of the right hip flexor and thigh. Heart's open. Head is just floating on the shoulders. So the more you can squeeze it under, the more that will intensify the stretch. Feel free to stay here, hands to heart center and onto the mudra, or re-extend those arms up to the ceiling. Trying to draw the head of the arm bones back to open up the chest. Maybe gazing slightly upwards as long as the neck stays long. One more breath. Take a nice deep breath in. On the exhale, float those arms all the way out, down, and around to those hips. Focus your drishti on one spot and try to step your right foot straight forward back to Tadasana. Float the arms out, turn the palms forward, spread the fingers. Pick up the toes, root through the four corners of the feet, standing in neutral position for a moment. Turn the palms out, inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, float the hands back down onto those hips. Big step back with that left foot, high lunge. Right knee over ankle pointing to the center of the foot. Open your stance a little bit if we need a little assistance with our balance tonight. You may angle that back heel down and into more of a Virabhadrasana stance, or keep the heel up. Sink the tailbone down, upper buttock down, pull front body to back body, and intentionally feel like you're pushing your left hip forward. Again, there's no necessarily big movement here, it's just that little tuck under. We should start to feel the stretch up the front of the left quad and hip. Stay connected to the core, keeping the hands on the hips, or if we like, reach those arms out, palms up, floating them up, shrugging the shoulders from the ears, keeping the neck long, maybe gazing slightly upwards. One more breath. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, reach those arms out, down and around, back to the hips, gaze forward. Try to pull that left foot back forward, right into Tadasana, feet hips width apart. Arms float out beside the body. Palms forward. Spread the fingers and the toes. Stand tall for a moment. Inhale, reach it out wide and up. Exhale, bring the palms to touch, hands to heart. So we're going to come out of Tadasana for a moment, and I want us to pick up our yoga straps if we have them, or grab a scarf, something that you can hold onto in both hands, and create some tension on our strap. So it's got to be long enough that you can take a nice wide grip on it. Good, we all got something. So this is just going to be some standing shoulder work. We did this a while back. It's a really nice way to stretch out those muscles. It's going to be really important though to stay connected to the core and nice and grounded in the feet. So your feet should be firmly planted, knees unlocked, belly's pulling in, standing tall. If you have one shoulder that asks you to stop, that's where you stop. Even if you feel like you can go further on one side, don't force it. And if you continuously overstretch on one side, you'll just increase that imbalance in the body. So that's my theory. When one says that's enough, that's enough. Wider grip to start with, strong legs, strong core, stand tall. On the inhale, keep tension on that strap, float it up overhead. It can come slightly back behind the head. On our exhale, we're just going to bring it back down. Let the breath guide you. Inhaling on our ups and our backs. Remember, don't lose the core and hyperextend. That's not going to do our back any good. Stay connected, nice and strong. Exhaling. Some of us might have the mobility here in our shoulders tonight to inhale it up and bring it all the way back and around. Usually a nice wide grip allows us to have that. If it's not there, don't force it. Gonna do one more. The next time that strap comes down in front of the body, we're gonna take a quick break. So I want you to shake out one hand at a time, wiggle your fingers, kind of swim your shoulders, get a little loose in the head and neck. We're gonna come and now hold the stretch. Feet strong, legs strong, belly's in, wide grip. If you want to try to narrow your grip to change the stretch, feel free to do so. We'll inhale it up, keep tension on the strap, and now you're taking it to your degree. We're getting a nice big stretch for the front of the chest and the shoulders, but not causing any strain or tension here. The head should be nice and loose. We should still be able to stay connected to the core. And pull on the strap like you're trying to pull it apart. Don't forget, smooth, even breath in and out through the nose. One more breath. Big breath in. On the exhale, bring it down. Take the strap, just toss it off to the side. Wiggle, noodle the fingertips. Swim the shoulders a little loosey-goosey. So this next is just a little swinging movement. We're gonna start in the upper half of the body. We want our arms to be like wet noodles. We're not putting any effort into swinging our arms or moving the torso side to side. Make sure we're not torquing the knees. This is actually a Qigong movement. Energetically, it really helps move the energy through the body. And if you pick up the pace a little bit, your arms are going to start smacking into the body. You can literally hear the flopping around. This might even get to the point where the hands are kind of slapping into the low back. This stimulates the kidneys and the adrenal glands. You can let the hips kind of move side to side. Just be mindful how that feels on your knees. As loose as you can get in those arms. And then we just start slowing it down. And then eventually just kind of let the arms hang by the side. So we'll do one more balancing pose tonight, a one-legged balance. This is going to be Garudasana or eagle pose. And this is going to be, we did a lot of opening. Now we're going to do that opening for our upper back and shoulders. So try your best to bring the insides of the feet and legs to touch here. Compact the hips. Really use your lower locks or bandhas to strengthen that core. On the inhale, turn your palms out, reach it up. On the exhale, take your right arm and swing it underneath the left. Shoulders, option A, backs of the hands, or pull the hand in and around so that your palms are touching. Tonight, I want us to try to wiggle it down, pulling our shoulders down. We should feel this starting to stretch the upper back and shoulders. First option is to sit back into Utkatasana, knees bending, and just hold here, concentrating on more of the upper body. A little bit more balance. Step your right foot over the left, crossing at the shin bones. Even more balance, pick the right leg up, crossing the right thigh on top of the left thigh, wrapping maybe the foot around the shin, or the calf, excuse me. If it doesn't wrap, just let it hang out here in space. If we're adding the lower half of the body, it's really tight, it's squeezing, we're pulling our elbows in, trying to stretch out that upper back. Keep your focus. Powerful pose for 3, 2, 1. On the inhale, as gracefully as possible, release the pose. Reach the arms up. Drishti to the thumbs, a little bit of extension. Turn the palms out, float the arms down, and pause. Observe, notice any sensations in the body and the breath. Other side, turn the palms out. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, left arm sweeps under the right. Shoulders, backs of the hands, or pull that left hand in, palm to palm, wiggle it down. Pulling those shoulders down from the ears, elbows into the body. Exhale, sit back and down. First option, stay here. Second option, step the left foot over the right foot, crossing at the shins. Or try to hover the left leg up, crossing at the thighs. Foot can stay floating out to the side. Maybe it wraps around the back of that calf or ankle. And then if we fall out of the pose, we just come back to it as needed. Breathing deeply, in and out through the nose. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, try to unwind as best you can. Step the foot back down, reach the arms up. Drishti up for a little bit more extension, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart. Pause for a moment here. So hands pressing together in front of the chest. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Keep the focus. And then one more time. Inhale, draw that big circle, palms up, look up. Palms touch, exhale to heart. So if we moved ourselves around, we're going to meet back at the front of our yoga mat and transition into Kapotanasana or pigeon pose. My knee people that aren't going to be taking prone pigeon to stretch out the piriformis and the hip, you will work yourself down onto your back. I'll just show you quickly. I know most of you know this, but just as a reminder, right leg will reach up. That foot is actively flexed, toes to shin bone, externally rotating the thigh bone. crossing the ankle over that top thigh. Choosing to stay here, working the right hip. Hands may reach behind the left thigh bone, left leg up. You may also try to grip over the left shin bone. That will intensify the stretch for this outer hip. When we transition, you can just drop your feet down and transition there. Excuse me. If you'd like to go into prone pigeon with me, we will start back at the top of our mat in Tadasana. Standing nice and tall, mountain pose. Big inhale, reaching those arms out and up. Last chance, create a lot of length, drishti upwards. On the exhale, bend the knees slightly, hinge from the hips, pull the arms back down around, taking your forward fold. We'll hold for an extra breath or here. Again, try to loosen the head, the shoulders. Inhale, hands to shins or higher. Lift the chest, squeeze the back, halfway lift. This exhale bends the knees and plants the hands. Big step back to downward facing dog. Pause for a breath. Next inhale floats the right leg up. On the exhale, we pull that right knee forward. Angle the right knee out behind the right wrist. So we're trying to get our right thigh bone to angle out maybe 15, 20 degrees. Slide the left foot back. Take some support under the right buttock as needed. Once you inch that left leg back, both hips should be able to simultaneously sink towards the ground. Relax that back foot. It can sickle in slightly. On the inhale, pull the crown of the head upwards, create length through the spine. If there's no discomfort in that front knee and we have some space, you may start to bring the body down towards the ground in this pose. So this is a pose that we'll hold a little longer this evening, giving ourselves a nice big stretch for that right hip, deep hip flexors, rotators. Excuse me, rotators. If you're starting to bring the upper body down, use props. You may try to flare the elbows out, bringing the forehead to the floor. If you're on your back, you can go through those variations, taking the hands behind the left thigh, the left shin bone. And then we just pause and breathe, using our exhales to let go of any tension or tightness we might find. Let's all cycle through one more nice deep breath in and out through the nose. Prone pigeon people. On that next inhale, we bring the head up. Use your elbows, your hands to bring the upper body back up. It's important to tuck those back toes under, inch the body forward, and make sure that we lift our hips up and bring our body weight up off that right knee before we try to walk it out. If you're on your back, extend the right leg back up to the ceiling, then drop the right foot to the floor and rock your knees side to side. So other side, down dog people, inhale, left leg up. Exhale, pulls the left knee forward. It angles out behind the left wrist. Left foot might be closer towards the belly. Some of us have the mobility to bring the left foot more forward, as long as it doesn't torque or twist the knee awkwardly. Step your right foot back. Add props under that left hip as needed. Relax the back foot down once you're in position. Both hips should try to be able to sink down equally towards the ground. Inhale, lift up through the crown of the head, creating space through the spine. And then on our exhale, coming down. Those of you in supine pigeon, your left leg is straight, you're pulling your toes to your shin bone. That left foot must be actively flexed the whole time, crossing the left ankle on top of the right thigh. And then you can move through the different variations there. Hands behind the right thigh, hands to the right shin bone. If we're moving further down from the upper body in our prone pigeon, feel free to use props as needed. If you need to release the pose sooner, that's fine. Otherwise, just simply be and breathe in the pose. Use the exhale to try to let go of the tension and tightness we might find in that left hip. One more big breath in our pose. Prone pigeon, inhale, head comes up, use your elbows in your hands, pull the belly in. Place some weight in your hands, walk the back foot and knee slightly forward, lifting the body up off that front knee before we try to move it around. If you're on your back, you re-extend the left leg up to the ceiling. You could drop the foot to the floor and windshield wipe your knees side to side a couple times. So we are going to transition from down dog onto our bellies for a gentle back bend. If you are on your back, hug your knees to your chest, rock it out. You can roll to one side and then bring yourself around onto the belly. So down dog people, inhale, move forward into kneeling or full plank. Adjust yourself on your mat as you need to. Exhale, lower all the way down onto the belly. Point the toes. Keep the feet nice and wide if we take care of those low backs, or zip the feet and legs to touch. Squeeze the elbows in, shin is forward. On the inhale, use the strength of your back to lift up through cobra pose, squeezing the muscles of the upper back, mid back, low back, and the glutes. Then slide your elbows straight forward underneath the shoulders, moving into Sphinx pose. So it's going to be our gentle back bend tonight. Knife the pinky edge of the hands into the ground. Take the webbing of the index finger and thumbs, turning them inward. And you should be able to take a hold of those elbow creases. That's the alignment. So the upper arm bones are perpendicular to the floor. And then bring the hands back forward. You may place them palms down if you like. At this point, we want to relax the buttock and the legs and the feet. The heels can even flop open. And then we're drawing the crown of the head forward and upwards so that the arm bones are doing the work here. And we're going to gaze straight forward. But we're pushing the elbows down and pulling towards the body so that we're trying to lengthen the crown of the head forward and up to help decompress that spine. And we'll do a little bit of action here for the neck to release tension around the neck and shoulders. Take another deep breath in. On the exhale, let's look over that right shoulder, see how far we can see. Maybe we see our feet back there. Inhale it back to center. Exhale, let's have a look over the left shoulder. Eyes are wide. Inhale back to center. One more time to each side. Exhaling, peek over the right shoulder. Inhale back. And exhale over that left shoulder. Inhale back to center. Flare the elbows out. Stack the hands and rest the forehead onto the hands. Or turn the head to one side. Rest in the ear on the hands. Relax the back completely. Give your hips a little wiggle side to side. Relax the glutes. Take a nice deep belly breath. And then draw the chin forward. Hands come back underneath the shoulders. Elbows squeeze in. Tuck those toes under. Tuck the tailbone under. Draw the inner belly into the body and press up. You can move through a kneeling plank if you want. We're going to come to our tabletop one more time and take a couple more rounds of our cat-cow to help loosen up the back from our little back bending action. Inhaling cow pose. Exhaling cat stretch. And then let's try to sit back, more traditional child's pose. Knees touching, feet touching. Walking the hands back, bowing the head to the ground, and sliding the hands back to our feet. Dropping the upper body over the lower body, sagging the shoulders back down to the ground. Hands under the shoulders, tuck the chin. Inhale, pull the belly in as we round up one vertebra at a time, restacking the spine. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over those hips. Shift the weight over to either hip and bring those feet forward. So we're going to come down onto our backs here. Do another little stretch for our around our hips. So move the body forward so that we have enough space behind us to lie down. You're welcome to roll to one side and walk the body down safely. Or a little bit of core. We do the slow roll down where we bring the soles of the feet to the floor, feet touching, knees open wide. Pull the belly in strongly, reaching those fingertips forward and trying to slowly come down one vertebra at a time. We'll all catch up on our back once the head touches down. We reach the arms overhead. Go ahead and adjust the clothing, move the ponytails out of the way. Straighten the legs out, point, flex the feet a couple times. And then bring the arms back down beside the body, draw the shoulders under. Walk the feet in, pull the belly in, and hug those knees in. Give it a little rock here. So from here, cross the right ankle on top of the left ankle. Try to reach down with the right hand, take a hold of the left foot. Now from here, we want the left knee to point up to the ceiling. So you might need to float your right foot up in space a little bit just to get it out of the way. If you can't take a hold of that left foot tonight, don't worry about it. You'll still be able to get into the pose. You're going to allow that left knee to fall forward and down to the ground. Simultaneously, we're trying to work our left foot over to the right buttock. Right now, the right leg's just floating up in space. Pull your belly in, make sure your low back stays flat and grounded. So we'll start to feel the stretch up the front of the left quad and hip. The next variation is to take the hands onto the right shin bone, drawing the right knee to right shoulder, and still continuing to encourage the left knee to the floor. Back should stay flat, or a neutral position, I should say. Slow, deep breath and out through this nose. This pose can be quite intense for some of us. Shoulders down, elbows in. Another variation is to bring the right foot to the floor. And then this knee can fall open like Baddha Konasana. We're still trying to point the left knee forward and down. Keep the low back grounded. An additional opening for the shoulders and the heart is to reach the arms overhead, taking hold of opposite elbows, and then trying to relax, breathing deeply. Soften the face, the mouth, the tongue, and the jaw. One more breath. Ungrip the arms if they're overhead, slide them down. Float the right knee up. We'll float the right foot from the floor so that we have space to slide the left foot out. Plant the feet to the mat, a little wider than the hips, and just rock your knees side to side. Come to neutral, pull the belly in, hug the knees in. This time, cross the left ankle on top of the right ankle. Reach down with that left arm, taking a hold of the right toes. If you have a hold of the foot, you'll look at your right knee. We want the right knee to point straight up to the ceiling and forward. It does not flare out like bound ankle pose. You may need to lift the left foot up in the air just to get it out of the way. So as your right knee starts to fall forward, you're bringing the right foot over towards the left buttock. Don't be surprised if one side feels very different than the other. This is my tight side. It's pulling my low back out of alignment. So I really gotta use my core to keep my low back flat to the floor. Tuck those shoulders under. Hands can hold onto the left shin bone. Shoulders down, elbows in, drawing the left knee to the left shoulder as we continue to let the right knee ground or move towards the ground. Mine's definitely not touching. Another variation, drop the left foot to the floor. This knee may now fall open like bound ankle pose. Again, big stretch to the front of the hip flexors and quads. Arms can reach overhead. Try to take hold of the opposite elbow or opposite way you gripped the first time if you can think about it. Slow, deep breaths. Keep that low back grounded. One more breath. The arms are overhead, slide them back down beside the body. Float the left knee up. Lift the left foot from the floor to slide the right foot out. Both feet to the mat, knees are bent. Windshield wipe your knees side to side. And if you want to take this a little further and allow the knees, they're open wide, the feet are wide, to fall further towards the ground, that's going to add a little gentle back bend, a little bit more of a twist. And the head can turn the opposite direction of the knees. If there's another position you'd like to go into before we take final relaxation, happy baby, a deeper spinal twist, you're welcome to do that. So if we've moved around, taking another position, just make sure you balance yourselves out. And then we are gonna move into final relaxation for several moments. So take those pillows, take those blankets and any other props that you have to support our body. You may move into Shavasana, flat to the floor, a supported Shavasana with pillows and blankets, even placing some props on top of the body. So give yourself time, there's no rush here. We want to make sure we're as comfortable as possible. So this evening, I'll do a little bit of more guided relaxation in this pose. I'll bring us out with the singing bowl for those of us that want to come up to a seated position for a little bit of pranayama, mantra, and meditation. Otherwise, continue to relax the mind and body on the floor this evening. So loosen things up around the body, the clothing, the hair, adjust your surroundings as needed, adjust the props. Making all the adjustments in the beginning so that we can find stillness in the end. Poof the cheeks with air, swallow a couple times, yawn, helping to release any tension in the mouth, tongue, and jaw. Closing the eyes and allowing the eyeballs to sink into the sockets. Adjust the shoulders, arm bones rolling open besides the body, palms up. The fingertips relax naturally. Relax the belly completely. All of the abdominal muscles and the internal organs. Notice a subtle rise and fall of the belly with the breath. Release those larger muscles around the hips, the buttocks and thighs. The legs are heavy as we relax all the way down the legs, through the knees, into the ankles, the feet, and the toes. Soften all the little muscles across the face, unfurling the brow. Relax the eyebrow center. Notice a soft, easy breath around the tip of the nose and the nostrils. And with the lips softly touching, release the tongue and lower jaw to gravity. Relaxing the whole body. Soften and relax the inside of the body. If the mind wanders, we gently bring it back to the peaceful breath, giving ourselves permission to let go, to relax, and to sink into Shavasana. So you may choose to stay in your Shavasana for a few more moments longer. Otherwise, you can gently come back to the breath and start to breathe some life back into the body. Just little movements in the toes and fingertips, a gentle rock of the head side to side. Arms may stretch overhead, moving into our long body stretch for a moment. And then we'll walk the feet in, hugging the knees in to massage the back. Bringing the right arm beside the head and rolling and pausing onto our side in a fetal position, sleeping baby pose. And then try to keep those eyes very soft or even closed as we press down into the ground and slowly bring the body up. So those of us choosing to come up, we might have to open our eyes a little bit, rearrange some things, and that's okay. Just try to move very mindfully. We will come into a seated position, so we'll want to take some prop underneath the sit bones so that we can sit up nice and tall. Any position in the legs, easy cross pose, heel to heel alignment. We want to find the sit bones. Again, adjust the clothing and the surroundings, sitting up nice and tall. So we'll go for a few rounds of Nadi Shodhanam or alternate nostril breathing this evening. I'll verbally guide us through a few rounds, and then we'll take a few rounds on our own. And then from there, we'll practice our Loka Samasta mantra, which means may all beings everywhere be happy and free. Sit up very tall through the spine, the crown of the head, the face continues to be nice and relaxed. Bringing both hands into chin mudra, index finger to thumb, resting the hands on the knees, palms down or palms up. In your right hand, you take Nisagra mudra. It starts by looking like the peace symbol or the victory symbol, and then we bring the middle and index finger to touch. The thumb and the ringing pinky fingers open, and those are our pinchers for this practice. Spiral the right hand towards the face, placing the index finger and middle finger into the third eye center between the brow. Gently place the right thumb on the outside of the right nostril, the ring and pinky on the outside of the left nostril. To begin, inhale through both nostrils. Exhale through both nostrils. Now close the right nostril with the thumb and inhale just through the left. Close the left, open the right, and exhale. Inhale back through the right. Close the right, open the left, and exhale. That's one round. Inhale left. Close left, open right, exhale. Inhale back through the right. Close right, open left, exhale. That's 2 rounds. Try to follow 2 or 3 more rounds at a comfortable rhythm for your breath and your body. Continue to sit up tall through the spine and the crown of the head. If the head or the right arm begins to get tired, place the left hand under the right elbow to help prop it up. If one nostril is more congested than the other, do your best to breathe through it, keeping the breath as smooth and even as possible. So we will all finish the round that we're currently on. Take your time. We should finish this round when we get to our exhale out the left nostril. So once you get to the exhale through the left nostril, that will be the last exhale of that round. We'll release both hands back down onto the knees in Chin Mudra. Keeping the eyes closed, mind's eye focused at the third eye center, maybe still feeling that acupressure point that we created. Observe and notice the breath around the tip of the nose and the nostrils. Continue to sit up very tall through the spine to the crown of the head. So now we'll go for a few rounds of our mantra tonight. Loka samasta sukhi no bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. I will begin by chanting the mantra. Feel free to join in at home or mentally repeat a mantra of your choice. We'll eventually fade the mantra out and either continue to repeat that mantra over and over again mentally or simply continue to sit with the breath, taking a few moments in our seated meditation. And then once again, I'll use my singing bowl to bring us out. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. 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 Those of us still in Shavasana, gently begin to wake the body up with the breath. Take a moment to loosen things up, stretching out, rocking knees to chest,
Pausing on the side. Those of us in our seated position, notice the posture. If we've started to slouch, sit back up tall. Feel the weight of the shoulders sag away from the ears, the weight of the elbows, and the weight of the hands on the knees. And then meeting back in our seated position, being very mindful of our surroundings. Let's re-extend those arms out beside the body, palms up. Taking another deep breath in to reach those arms up to the ceiling and to gather up everything we need for the rest of our evening. Turn the palms out, exhale, floating the fingertips all the way back to the floor and letting go of all that other junk we don't need this evening. And again, inhaling, float the arms up. This time, bringing the palms to touch and exhaling the hands to the heart center, humbly bowing our head down to our heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, and anyone else that made it possible for us to come together and practice our yoga today. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. And I thank you all as usual for your patience, for your presence, and for your practice. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Hopefully we worked some things out, got ourselves ready to move calmly and peacefully into our night. Questions, comments, please share. So the introvert got dark out. Drink lots of water, stay hydrated out there.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joanne. We'll see you
You're
Sunday.
welcome. I'll be here Sunday, bright and early. So we'll probably on Sunday do a little bit more of our flowing. I haven't quite decided yet, but we'll make it good and we'll make it happen. So hope you sleep well tonight.
Thank you.
Meditation.
You're welcome. Thank you guys. I needed all of that. I just want to stay on my mat with my eyes closed a little longer. It feels so good. Such a great way to decompress from the day. Hi, Vidya.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Joanne.
Thanks, Nancy, as usual. You all take care. I'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Good night.